The candle at Galata Tower. In Istanbul of 1933, the city was a restless giant, caught between the echoes of an empire and the sharp, bright call of a new republic. High above the chaos of the Golden Horn, the Galata Tower stood like an ancient sentinel, its stone walls holding countless centuries of secrets. At its base, near the cobblestones slick with the evening mist, sat the small stall of Layla, the candle seller. She sold beeswax candles, thin tapers, and thick, sweet-smelling votives. But the finest she saved for Kamal, the journalist. He arrived every night, usually just as the street lamps were sputtering to life. His coat collar turned up, his eyes weary from reading small print and seeing too much. He never bought a box, only one single candle. He would hold the heavy cylinder in his ink-stained fingers. And his ritual was always the same. "This one burns long enough to finish my story, Layla," he would say, the candle becoming the measure of his night's courage. His stories were not romances or gossip. They were sharp-edged truths about the new regime, written in hidden basements and printed on stolen presses. Layla didn't read his words, but she knew their fire. She knew the danger that rode in with him every evening. Her finest candle, a blend of pure beeswax and fig, meant to burn slow and clean, was her silent contribution to his fight, a simple, flammable promise of light in the darkness. One bitter winter night, the hour came and went. The last merchants packed up, the street dogs settled down, and the great shadow of the tower stretched and retreated with the moon. But Kamal did not come. Layla waited, her heart turning to cold wax. The next morning, a fearful whisper traveled the docks. Kamal had been arrested, taken during the dark hours for sedition. His voice, for the first time, was silenced by the iron fist of the state. The news broke Layla, but it did not extinguish her resolve. That night, she took the finest fig candle she had saved. For him, the one that was meant to burn through his most dangerous story, and placed it carefully on the first stone step of the Galata Tower. She lit the wick. The following night, she placed 2, and the next 4. She didn't stop. Every evening, Layla would climb the winding stone steps outside the tower, placing a growing line of candles. They were a breadcrumb trail of light, a fragile, determined vigil leading up to the tower's heavy wooden door. The city noticed. Sailors, seeing the glow high on the tower hill, spoke of Layla's light. They knew it wasn't a tribute to God, but a fierce earthly promise to a man imprisoned. Her candles burned through weeks, through seasons, through the long, crushing silence of Kamal's absence. She was tireless, driven by a simple belief. The moment she stopped lighting the path, he would truly be lost. Then, nearly a year later, the door creaked open. It was dawn. Layla, exhausted and thin, had just finished laying out the last of her night's offering. She had used up every candle in her stall. The steps were a galaxy of small, burning flames, a halo against the dark stone. Overcome by fatigue and the quiet triumph of her ritual, she had curled up against the base of the tower, finally falling into a heavy, dreamless sleep. Kamal, aged and hollow-cheeked, stood blinking in the weak morning light. He had been released quietly without fanfare. He didn't see the sprawling city below him or the rising sun. He only saw the unbroken path of fire leading to his feet. He found Layla beneath the tower's great shadow, surrounded by hundreds of sputtering golden candles, many still burning down to their last faithful drop of wax. He knelt beside her, his hand trembling as he reached out to touch her hair. The only sound, the faint, warm hiss of the wicks. He was home, guided not by the government's grand electric beacon, but by the quiet, defiant light of one woman's promise.